Have you ever wondered why some men seem to maintain better prostate health well into their 70s, while others struggle with frequent trips to the bathroom, restless nights, and discomfort? If you are a man over 60 or if you care for someone who is, this video may hold some answers you have not yet considered. In today's discussion, we are going to explore how 10 habits can quietly influence your ability to shrink and enlarge prostate naturally and improve your quality of life. These are not complex medical treatments or radical changes. They are everyday choices that many seniors unknowingly make, for better or worse. Over my years in practice, I have seen firsthand how small lifestyle adjustments can create surprising improvements in urinary health, comfort, and overall well-being. But just as easily, certain hidden habits can contribute to worsening symptoms without you even realizing it. So, if you are part of the growing community of men over 60 seeking natural ways to feel better, sleep more soundly, and regain control of your body, you are in the right place. Throughout this video, I will guide you through practical, actionable insights designed to empower you, not overwhelm you. But before we dive into today's important content, I invite you to take a moment to subscribe to the channel. By doing so, you will stay connected to future videos that can further support your health journey. All right, let's begin. Habit 1, not drinking enough water, a silent strain on your prostate. Now, let me tell you about one of the most overlooked habits I see in my older patients, not drinking enough water. You might think this is too simple to matter, but after more than 20 years practicing internal medicine, I can tell you it is one of the quietest ways men damage their prostate without even realizing it. Let me share a quick story. Last year, I had a patient named George, a retired teacher in his late 60s. He came in complaining of frequent urination, discomfort at night, and a general sense of fatigue. He believed it was all part of aging, just something he had to live with. But when we went through his daily habits, one thing stood out. George was barely drinking any water throughout the day. Like many seniors, he had cut back because he didn't want to be running to the bathroom all the time, especially at night. Here's the problem. When you do not drink enough water, your urine becomes more concentrated. This irritates the bladder and the prostate, both of which are very sensitive to changes in fluid balance. The prostate sits just below the bladder, so when the bladder is under stress, it transfers that pressure downward. Over time, this can lead to chronic inflammation, and inflammation is a key driver of prostate enlargement. Dehydration also slows the body's ability to flush out toxins, which can further irritate the entire urinary tract. On top of that, many seniors are on medications that cause dehydration, making the issue even worse if they aren't actively replenishing fluids. Now, what is the solution? It's simple. Sip water throughout the day, even if you're not feeling thirsty. Aim for urine that is clear or light yellow. This is an easy visual check that tells you whether you are well hydrated. And don't avoid drinking in the evening out of fear. You can manage the timing of your water intake, but your prostate will thank you for consistent hydration. I've seen patients like George make this one change and notice a real difference in symptoms within weeks. So ask yourself, are you giving your body enough of this simple, powerful tool? And if you're finding this information helpful so far, why not take a second to subscribe to the channel? And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Do you struggle with remembering to drink enough water each day? Share your experience below, and let's learn from each other. Habit 2, carrying excess belly fat, an inflammatory trigger for your prostate. Let's talk about something that many men ignore, but that has a direct link to prostate health, carrying too much belly fat. Now, as a physician, I never like to shame anyone about weight because life happens and weight gain can sneak up on anyone, especially as we get older. But what matters here is understanding what that extra fat around the midsection is actually doing to your body, particularly to your prostate. I remember a patient named Jonathan, age 71. He was a former salesman, very active in his younger days, but in retirement he became more sedentary and gradually put on about 25 extra pounds, mostly around his waist. He came to me frustrated about waking up multiple times a night to urinate, feeling tired during the day, and even struggling with intimacy. Now here is the science. Belly fat is not just stored energy, it is metabolically active tissue. It releases inflammatory chemicals called cytokines into the bloodstream. These cytokines create a low-grade, constant state of inflammation in the body, including in the prostate gland. This chronic inflammation contributes to swelling, increased sensitivity, and over time can lead to the prostate growing larger than it should. But that is not all. Excess abdominal fat also disrupts your hormone balance. It increases the conversion of testosterone into estrogen, which can further stimulate prostate growth. It is a vicious cycle. More belly fat means more inflammation and hormone imbalance, which then worsens prostate symptoms. The good news is even small changes can have a big impact. When Jonathan started walking for just 20 minutes a day, cutting back on refined sugars, and focusing on more vegetables and lean proteins, he gradually lost about 10 pounds over 3 months. His urinary symptoms improved significantly. He was sleeping better and feeling more confident. So if you are carrying extra weight around your belly, know this: you are not alone, and you do not need to aim for perfection. Even a 5 to 10% reduction in body weight can make a big difference for your prostate health. And if you are finding these insights useful, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you do not miss the next tips we will be covering. Also, I would love it if you shared your journey in the comments. Are you working on improving your weight or fitness? Let's encourage each other. Habit 3. Consuming too much red meat, fueling inflammation from within. Now let's move on to a habit that surprises many of my patients: eating too much red meat. For many men, a good steak or a hearty burger is a staple of life. And I get it, there is nothing wrong with enjoying good food. But when red meat becomes a daily habit, it can silently contribute to prostate problems in ways you might not expect. Let me tell you about Tyler, a 65-year-old retired engineer. Tyler loved his barbecue weekends, and during the week, it was often burgers, sausages, or deli meats. When he came to see me, he was experiencing frequent urination and pelvic discomfort, symptoms that had gradually worsened over the past year. During our conversation, it became clear that his diet was heavily centered around red and processed meats. Now here is what the research shows. Red meat, particularly when cooked at high temperatures or processed with chemicals, generates compounds that trigger inflammation in the body. Saturated fats in red meat can also promote systemic inflammation and oxidative stress. Both of these factors can aggravate the prostate and encourage its enlargement over time. Additionally, high consumption of processed meats, such as bacon, hot dogs, or deli cuts, introduces preservatives and additives that further disrupt the body's natural balance. Another issue is digestion. As we age, our metabolism slows, and red meat takes longer to digest, adding strain to the gut and contributing to bloating, weight gain, and pelvic pressure, all of which can impact prostate health. The good news is you do not have to give up red meat entirely. It is about balance. When Tyler reduced his red meat intake to once or twice a week and started incorporating more fish, plant-based proteins, and fiber-rich foods into his meals, he noticed a marked improvement in his symptoms within a couple of months. His energy levels also improved, and he was able to enjoy better sleep. So take a look at your own plate. If red meat is a daily occurrence, it might be time to switch things up. Your prostate will thank you. And while you are here, if you are enjoying these tips, go ahead and subscribe so you can stay up to date on future videos. I also invite you to share in the comments, what is your favorite healthy meal that supports your wellness? Let us inspire each other. Habit 4. Skipping regular health screenings, missing early warnings. Now here is a habit that concerns me deeply, especially among older men: skipping regular health screenings. Over my years in practice, I have seen this time and again, men avoiding the doctor unless something feels seriously wrong. The problem is, with prostate health, the early signs of trouble are often silent. Let me share the story of Andrew, a 74-year-old retired architect. Andrew was a proud, independent man, the kind who rarely saw a doctor. For years, he brushed off mild symptoms, occasional urgency, slight hesitation when urinating. He thought that is just part of getting older. But by the time he came to my office, the situation had progressed. His prostate had enlarged significantly, causing bladder retention and leading to a series of infections. If we had caught the issue earlier through routine screening, we could have managed it with lifestyle adjustments instead of needing more aggressive treatments. The key screenings here are simple and non-invasive. A digital rectal exam allows the physician to feel the size and texture of the prostate, and a PSA blood test measures prostate-specific antigen levels, which can indicate inflammation or abnormal growth. These tools are not about finding cancer every time. They are about monitoring changes over time. When we see patterns, we can take action before symptoms escalate. Unfortunately, many men feel embarrassed to talk about urinary issues, or they fear what they might hear at the doctor's office. But let me tell you, facing the truth early is far less scary than dealing with advanced complications later. And the truth is, many prostate issues can be improved naturally when caught early through lifestyle shifts and simple interventions. I always tell my patients, an annual checkup is not a chore. It is a powerful tool for staying ahead of the game. Do it for yourself. Do it for your loved ones. And if this message resonates with you, go ahead and subscribe so you will never miss these important health updates. I also invite you to comment below, do you keep up with your regular screenings? Or do you have questions about what to expect? Let's open the conversation. Your story might help another man take that important first step. Habit 5, smoking or exposure to secondhand smoke, a hidden threat to prostate health. Now let's talk about one of the most damaging habits of all, smoking or even just being around secondhand smoke. Over the decades, we have come to understand just how harmful tobacco is to nearly every system in the body, and your prostate is no exception. Let me tell you about Gerald, a 69-year-old former mechanic. Gerald had quit smoking about 10 years ago, but his wife still smoked indoors, and he spent a lot of time in social circles where smoking was common. When he came to me complaining of pelvic discomfort, frequent urination, and poor circulation in his legs, we began to connect the dots. You see, smoking reduces blood flow throughout the body, and that includes the delicate tissues of the prostate. Restricted circulation means the prostate is not getting the oxygen and nutrients it needs to function and repair itself. Over time, this poor circulation leads to inflammation and tissue damage. But it doesn't stop there. Tobacco smoke is loaded with toxins that increase oxidative stress, which in turn damages cells and promotes abnormal growth. Studies show that men who smoke or who are exposed regularly to secondhand smoke have a significantly higher risk of prostate enlargement and even prostate cancer. What many people don't realize is that the damage continues even years after quitting if you are still exposed to smoke in your environment. When Gerald and his wife finally committed to making their home smoke-free, and he worked on improving his circulation through walking and antioxidant-rich foods, his symptoms began to improve within a few months. The message here is simple. If you smoke, talk to your doctor about quitting. There are more resources and supports available today than ever before. And if you don't smoke, protect yourself by avoiding secondhand smoke wherever possible. Your prostate and your entire body will thank you. And while we are on this important topic, I encourage you to subscribe so you can continue learning how to protect your health. And tell me in the comments, have you or someone you know had success quitting smoking? Let's share those victories. They inspire others more than you might realize. Habit 6, holding urine too long, putting pressure where it shouldn't be. Now here is a habit that almost everyone is guilty of from time to time, holding in your urine for too long. It may not seem like a big deal, but trust me, when this becomes a regular habit, it can have a significant impact on your prostate health. Let me introduce you to Martin, a 68-year-old retired pilot. Martin had always been the type to push through discomfort. Whether he was on long flights or later running errands, he often delayed bathroom breaks because he did not want to interrupt what he was doing. By the time he came to see me, he was experiencing bladder pressure, a weak urinary stream, and an uncomfortable sense of fullness even after going to the restroom. Here's why this happens. When you hold urine for extended periods, the bladder stretches beyond its normal capacity. This creates increased pressure on the bladder walls, which in turn pushes down on the prostate. The prostate, already sensitive with age, responds to this repeated stress by becoming inflamed and irritated. Over time, the bladder muscles also weaken, making it harder to fully empty, which leaves residual urine. This stagnant urine becomes a breeding ground for bacteria, increasing the risk of urinary tract infections, which can further inflame the prostate. The cycle repeats and symptoms worsen. The fix is simple but requires awareness. Pay attention to your body's signals. When you feel the need to go, do not delay unnecessarily. Plan ahead when traveling or during activities that might limit restroom access. Martin learned this the hard way, but was able to retrain his habits. Within a few months of responding promptly to nature's call, combined with pelvic floor exercises, he saw noticeable relief in his symptoms. Your bladder and prostate are partners. When one is stressed, the other suffers. Respecting this balance is one of the easiest ways to maintain better urinary health. And if you are finding this advice valuable, consider subscribing so you will not miss future insights. And I would love to hear your thoughts. Do you sometimes delay bathroom trips out of habit? Share in the comments and let's learn from each other's experiences. Habit 7. Eating spicy and processed foods daily, stirring up inflammation. Now let's turn to a habit that many men overlook because it is so tied to personal taste, eating spicy and heavily processed foods on a daily basis. A little spice now and then is perfectly fine, but when these foods become a regular part of your diet, they can contribute to low-level inflammation that affects your prostate over time. Let me tell you about Eric, a 70-year-old jazz musician who had always enjoyed bold flavors. His meals were often loaded with hot sauces, cured meats, canned soups, and fried snacks. By the time he came to my clinic, he was dealing with pelvic discomfort, increased urgency, and difficulty fully emptying his bladder. As we explored his diet, the connection became clear. Here is what happens. Spicy foods, especially those with chili peppers and black pepper, can irritate the bladder and urinary tract. This irritation often extends to the prostate, particularly if it is already enlarged or sensitive. The heat from these spices may trigger inflammatory responses, making urinary symptoms worse. Now add to this the impact of processed foods. Foods high in sodium, preservatives, artificial flavors, and unhealthy fats are pro-inflammatory by nature. They disrupt your hormonal balance, increase water retention, and strain your digestive system. Over time, this can lead to weight gain, hormonal shifts, and yes, a more inflamed and enlarged prostate. When Eric began reducing his intake of these foods, replacing them with more fresh vegetables, lean proteins, and anti-inflammatory options like berries and olive oil, he noticed a significant improvement in both his urinary symptoms and overall energy levels. The takeaway here is not that you must eliminate all spice or never enjoy a flavorful dish. It is about balance. Occasional indulgence is fine, but daily consumption can quietly work against your prostate health. If you are finding these practical tips useful, make sure to subscribe so you can keep building your health knowledge. And tell me in the comments, have you noticed how certain foods affect your body? Let's compare notes and help each other make smarter choices. Habit 8. Drinking too much caffeine, overstimulating your bladder and prostate. Now here is a habit that sneaks up on many people, drinking too much caffeine throughout the day. Whether it is your morning coffee, an afternoon tea, or even energy drinks, caffeine in large amounts can irritate both the bladder and the prostate. Let me tell you about Dennis, a 66-year-old retired firefighter. Dennis had always been an early riser and relied on several cups of coffee each morning to start his day. Over time, he also developed the habit of having an afternoon coffee and occasionally an energy drink when he needed an extra boost. When Dennis came to see me, he was experiencing frequent bathroom trips, a strong sense of urgency, and occasional leakage. He was frustrated and worried that his prostate was worsening. As we looked into his daily routine, it became clear that excessive caffeine was playing a role. Here is what happens. Caffeine is a diuretic, which means it increases urine production and stimulates the bladder to contract more often. For someone with an already sensitive or enlarged prostate, this adds extra pressure to the entire urinary system. In addition, caffeine tightens the muscles around the neck of the bladder, making it harder to fully empty. This can leave residual urine behind, which in turn increases inflammation and discomfort. When Dennis gradually reduced his caffeine intake, limiting himself to one moderate cup of coffee in the morning and switching to herbal teas in the afternoon, his symptoms improved noticeably within a few weeks. He also found that cutting back on caffeine helped his sleep, which further supported his overall health. The key point here is not that you must eliminate caffeine completely. Many people tolerate a small amount well. But if you are consuming multiple caffeinated beverages daily and noticing urinary symptoms, it is worth experimenting with a reduction. Your bladder and prostate will likely respond positively. If you are enjoying these practical tips, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you do not miss future insights. And I am curious, how much caffeine do you typically consume in a day? Share your experience in the comments below. Sometimes the smallest changes make the biggest difference. Habit 9, sitting for long periods without movement, slowing circulation to the prostate. Now let's talk about a habit that has become more common in recent years, sitting for extended periods without regular movement. Whether it is hours spent watching television, working at a desk, or relaxing in a favorite chair, too much sitting can quietly affect your prostate health. Let me introduce you to Adam, a 72-year-old retired accountant. After retiring, Adam enjoyed spending long afternoons reading, watching sports, and occasionally doing crossword puzzles. While mentally stimulating, these activities kept him seated for hours at a time. When he came to see me, Adam complained of a sense of heaviness in the pelvic area, slower urinary flow, and occasional discomfort. Here is what was happening. Prolonged sitting places constant pressure on the pelvic region. This reduces blood circulation to the lower body, including the prostate. Poor circulation means less oxygen and fewer nutrients reach the prostate tissue, making it more susceptible to inflammation and swelling. Over time, weakened pelvic floor muscles from inactivity further compound the issue. Weak pelvic muscles can lead to incomplete bladder emptying, which increases urinary frequency and can irritate the prostate even more. The solution does not require drastic changes. When Adam began taking simple steps, like standing up every 30 to 45 minutes, walking around the house, and incorporating light stretching into his day, he noticed improvements in both comfort and urinary function. Even light movement helps restore healthy circulation and reduces pelvic pressure. For those who enjoy reading, tired, or computer time, consider setting a timer or using commercial breaks as reminders to stand and stretch. Your prostate and entire pelvic area benefit greatly from regular movement. And if you are finding this information helpful, take a moment to subscribe so you will be ready for more health tips coming your way. I would also love to hear from you. Do you have any favorite ways to stay active throughout the day? Share your ideas in the comments and let's keep each other motivated. Habit 10, ignoring thirst and staying dehydrated, quietly irritating your prostate. Now let's talk about one of the simplest yet most overlooked habits that affects prostate health, not drinking enough water. Many older men intentionally limit their fluid intake to avoid frequent trips to the bathroom, especially at night. While this seems logical on the surface, it can actually backfire. Let me tell you about Patrick, a 75-year-old retired postal worker. Patrick had gradually reduced his water intake over the years because he dreaded nighttime bathroom trips. He thought less water would mean fewer interruptions to his sleep. But when he came to me, he was dealing with frequent daytime urgency, burning sensations, and a persistent feeling of incomplete emptying. What was happening? Dehydration concentrates the urine, making it more acidic and irritating to the bladder and prostate. The prostate sits just below the bladder, and when the bladder is stressed, that stress is transmitted to the prostate. Over time, chronic dehydration can promote inflammation, a major contributor to prostate enlargement and urinary symptoms. Furthermore, many older adults take medications that increase the risk of dehydration, such as diuretics or blood pressure drugs. Without enough water, the body also struggles to flush out toxins effectively, which can further irritate the urinary tract. The solution is refreshingly simple. Sip water throughout the day, even if you are not particularly thirsty. Aiming for clear or light yellow urine is a helpful indicator that you are well hydrated. And while it is fine to manage when you drink in the evening to reduce nighttime trips, do not avoid hydration altogether. When Patrick began consciously increasing his water intake, spacing it evenly throughout the day, his symptoms improved significantly. He was amazed that such a basic change could make such a difference. Remember, staying hydrated is one of the most natural ways to support prostate health. It is a small habit with a big payoff. If you are appreciating these insights, Now is a great time to subscribe so you can continue learning how to care for your body. And I am curious, how do you remind yourself to stay hydrated during the day? Share your tips in the comments and let's help each other stay on track. Final thoughts. Embrace the power of small daily choices. As we close today's conversation, I want to leave you with this. Your prostate health is not just determined by age or fate. It is shaped by the small choices you make every single day. The food you eat, the way you move, how you manage stress, and how you care for your body all matter. They matter more than you might think. I have seen it in my own patients time and again, small changes leading to big transformations. You do not have to be perfect. You do not have to overhaul your life overnight, but you do have the power to take that first step. Maybe today it is choosing to drink more water. Maybe tomorrow it is standing and stretching more often, or finally scheduling that health screening you have been putting off. Every positive action you take is an investment in your future comfort, vitality, and well-being. You deserve that. Your loved ones want that for you, and I want that for you too. So as you reflect on what we discussed today, I encourage you to choose one habit to focus on this week. Just one. Start there and build momentum. And if this video resonated with you, please take a moment to like it, share it with someone who might benefit, and subscribe to the channel. And do not forget to click the notification bell so you never miss any of our future videos filled with more tips and guidance. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I truly appreciate your presence here. Take care of yourself, stay strong, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Wishing you health, happiness, and peace.